What is up, guys? It is Jack here, or the NDD, and we are back once again with some more Blind Leading the Blind. I think we are on to episode 4 now, if I can get my hand in the camera in the frame. Episode 4 now, which is great. We've got another episode in here in the middle ground. So I think episode 2 we had a 100 elo game. Episode 3 we had like a well over 1400 elo game, and now we've middle grounded. We're about 473 on the elo for this one. Today we're going to be looking at a game that's 30 minutes. It's been sent in by Charlie the Desync. He sent that in to myself. I appreciate that, my friend. I'm actually going to try and flip the board if I can. I can, absolutely. And he's going to be playing with the black pieces today. And yeah, he sent me in this game. He didn't say too much about it. He just said he wanted me to review it. So I will dive in and check it out. It does look like it potentially is a long game, so I will get into skipping the moves a bit later on, only because I don't want to keep you guys here until Chess 2 comes out. So let's crack on with this today. So we get a classic e4 opening, and Charlie responds with an e5. I don't know what he's going for here. Maybe the jack, maybe that, I don't know. And again, we get one of these aggressive early queen pushes. So let's see if Charlie tries to punish that. Of course, that's the bog standard response. In my head as well, he's now got to protect this pawn, right, with this queen push. So, he's fallen for the trick that I fell for as well. And now the pawn is gone. Well, there you are, guys. We both fell for it. Humdinger. I'm pretty sure there is some pretty nasty little side moves you can do here to get out of this. But this is a very vulnerable queen here. So if I was Charlie, I'd be probably asking the questions a bit sooner of like trying to kick this queen. But hey, you're playing the game. Maybe he's castling to sort of maybe set up a rook move here and then trying to get his bishop out. Who knows? So the individual with a black-faced 1903, bloody hell, what a fun name that is. He moves his bishop into attack here. So he's setting up a little bit of a nasty barrage going on over here. So although that would be taken immediately by the knight, but you get my point. So Charlie moves out his knight to attack there, and he retreats that queen. And then we get that pawn does fall in the center, and he's also gained a bit of momentum here. And is it gained a tempo, they say? It sounds very posh, because he's also attacking the queen itself. So the individual moves the queen over to sort of put a bit more pressure on, and Charlie just retreats his bishop there. I feel there's probably some other moves he could have done. I'm not certain on what the best move would have been here off the top of my head. Maybe that would have worked. So maybe yeah, I feel like that would have been quite nice. And maybe I'm wrong, guys, but the big pawn push here would be quite nice, because not only you're asking the question of, do you want to lose? Obviously, you're potentially opening up this file, but you could also you could lose the bishop, obviously, bishop for a knight, and also you're protecting that knight. So it's not too a bad move. I might be wrong, but again, that's what I'd go for. Charlie just retreats his knight. I respect that. And then we do get an interesting swap over of the bishop position here. So there's not a lot of the other person's team is, I'm just going to call him black. His other pieces are not in play, really, it seems, because they seem to have, like, he's got his few pieces out at the front, but there's still some undeveloped pieces here. Charlie does have his knight. He's got his rook in play here. He's setting up that barrage that I talked about earlier, where we can get that discovered attack going, which I love. And of course, okay, so right, so immediately I'm thinking, bang, win that queen. Charlie, you've set it all up, you've done all the hard work, right? Please tell me you see it, buddy. And he does see it. I love it. Takes the queen. Charlie, you're a legend. Perfect play. That's how you use those rooks. Oh, and we got oh no, I got excited and I thought we had this that forking square was free, but it's not quite yet. But if we can get rid of this, we can potentially got one idea there. And no, the idea's already dead because he's castled. But hey, so we get some. Okay, so he takes the bishop here. I'm not certain. I don't know if I would have taken the bishop there immediately, but only because in my head, that kind of that makes this even more well defended over here, right? And then it kind of gives him more space in the center, and more pawns in the center as well. Sorry, space in the center, more pawns in the center. But again, I could be wrong. I know there's this sort of. This is now more vulnerable, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. So Charlie just pushes the pawn up here. Again, there could be a very bright chess reason for his logic. He might be moving pawns. I'm not too certain with that one, but hey. And we get a knight move. Starting to develop his pieces over on the white side there. Brings out his bishop as well. I would probably maybe more thinking here. I know you're trying to look at targeting this pawn here, and obviously you've got the rook behind it. But I'm also just thinking long term. Obviously, we that's a good mating square, and we want to kind of really bound down on that king. But hey, each their own. So we get a bishop development here, pushing the pawn forward a bit more. I like that, and we're also now targeting this pawn. And we get a knight move, and the vulnerable pawn does go down. Very nice. So the rook's changed position. I can talk. We really, in my head now, I'd be thinking we want to get our queen into play, I think, at this point. I know maybe he's thinking of doing a sort of up and over with this rook here. Bring his rook to here and then targeting this, and then we can link them up. I don't know. I could be seeing the future. Okay, so yeah, the pawn does go, of course. That's fine, and obviously he can't take back because it's looked up by the bishop, but that's no trouble. And immediately he starts trying to attack the knight, trying to scare him off, and he doesn't see that. Yeah, the bishop was hanging there. So just a bit more patience there, Charlie. A bit more patience. You've got plenty of time here. And how much time did you take for that move? So you just took 15 seconds, and you've got 30 minutes, buddy. You know, you've got to sometimes stop and just think, when you've got your soldiers forward, what can I do here? You know, what's vulnerable? Because I don't think this bishop was ever defended. You know, you sent him into unknown territory. This is a great move, but, you know, you've just got to think. In my head, I'd be thinking, right, this is vulnerable, right? It's not protected. I would be bringing this bishop back to... Well, that's not a great square because it's not protected because you've moved this pawn over here. But I'd even maybe just back further or over this side as well, potentially, if you really wanted to lock off this sort of vulnerable side that we talked about earlier. But definitely not here. So anyway, so you do lose that bishop. That's okay, though. You keep this pawn push going. This is also hanging, I think. So, okay. Now it's hanging. Okay, so you do bring the queen out. I would personally maybe have taken the pawn and sort of put some... Well, it doesn't put much pressure on this one, but it's a free pawn, but each their own. And he sets up quite a similar barrage that you used earlier, so hopefully you will see it, where you've got... The danger of this is that basically you've kind of got a free knight move here, right? Because, you know, when this knight moves, you can't take it, right? Unless obviously he comes here and you take it with the queen, because you're going to have to immediately move that queen. So I'm going to see how you're going to deal with that threat. And you obviously you're targeting the bishop. I respect it, but this is the danger. And of course we've got, this is now hanging, and you obviously assume you're going to save the queen, and the rook will go down. Okay, Charlie, it's all right. You still took his queen. You still bring this home, mate. I have faith in you. So we then lose the other bishop does go, and he doesn't take back. That's I guess he doesn't want to lose his knight, which is it's understandable, I guess. But then he does on that square. Fair enough. That's what people wanted. In my head, I'd probably be looking into. I would probably struggle in this position, guys. I'm not going to lie to you, only because although we've got the queen and the rook, there's not too much pawns for us to play with. This person's got a lot of pawns, and we want to. I'd be thinking maybe trying to use one of these open files, trying to get target this pawn in particular to try and take advantage of this pass pawn we've got. Sorry, it's not a pass pawn. I think that's if it's no pawns in opposition, but make it a pass pawn then maybe. That would be my logic, right? Is try and get this out of the way, push him forward. But alas, we'll see how you get on. So this is the issue with knights. They're so tricky. You can just move them and suddenly two things are threatened. So he moves his knight in to threaten the queen. Charlie dances around with another knight move there. And the vulnerable pawn does go. Love that, Charlie. That's just what we were thinking. Right now, there's apparently there's a tactic or something here that we can go for. Oh, there is a back rank mate potentially that we've got as a potential risk there with the old back ranker. Let me have a think. How could we achieve that? It's not right now, by the way, but down the line. When you've got the king and three pawns like this, always just be thinking back rank mate. That's what I'm again. So Charlie does attack the knight here. You've got to be careful with this, Charlie, that you keep doing it where you're just pushing your pawns forward, the full two squares, they're not too well defended, and they leave a lot of gaps in your defense. You know, and the other 2 pawns, they're not really linking up or working too well together. And so the knight move happens here, and I'll be fascinated to see what exactly is you know, the right strategy here as such. But I would probably be doing something similar to Charlie, which is trying to get the rooks and the piece into the open file and take advantage of that and try and score some form of mate. There is a check there. The knight is under attack. So the knight attacks the rook there, and Charlie brings up his rook. And then the rook's under attack. Okay, so there's something here that we can see. So let's see what we got here. So, what would be the strategy here? I mean, I'm struggling to think of this one. I'm struggling to think what would be the real beastie strat here. Once again, let me know in the comments if you guys can think. But what would be the winning strat here that would give such a big material advantage to black? Maybe Charlie will find it. In my head, I would probably have to take a few minutes. But immediately, I can't think of anything that's too fantastic. You know, maybe we've got the. Honestly, I'm struggling here, to be honest, guys, because yeah, I can't think. I'd maybe thinking this. Maybe my rook goes over here, and then he kind of has to takes back, and then we're still threatening. Maybe that's what I would do. And then obviously, if he was to take the rook, sorry, I tell a lie. I'd go here, and then he kind of is a little bit stuffed because he can't take the rook because that would be mate in 1. That's what I would probably do, but that would probably be the losing strat. Oh no, okay, and then obviously that would be mate in 1. Okay, cool. I'm not too dumb. There you are. There's. If I take the time to think, I can sometimes find the right move. But I don't want to waste everyone's time. Let's skip forward a few moves. So Charlie goes for. That's exactly the move Charlie went for. Brilliant. And he just moves out of the way. Okay, so in my head, what's the winning strategy here, folks? What would we go for? I don't think it's that. So the issue is that obviously if we move up here, it just is takes, then the rook survives. From this position, I don't want to waste too much. Immediately, I can't see what the winning response is, but obviously there's some. This is a very dangerous position for white because there's that back rank mate threat. I would probably take it, especially if I had 24 minutes on the clock. I'd probably take a couple minutes and try and spot what the strat is here, but I probably wouldn't see it straight away. Maybe moving this? No, that would be just losing a piece, chat. What are you doing? I'd actually maybe to here could be a good one. Yeah, move the queen up maybe. Yeah, move the queen to here, and then we've got this. But off the top of my head, honestly, guys, can't find it. So he takes the pawn though, which is again not an awful move when you're panicking. He kind of blocks his queen in a bit more, which is okay. I guess he's trying to be cautious. And then that pawn pushes up. And then the queen is under attack once again. I think maybe this move happens now at this point, right? Okay. I don't think that works anymore. That's the issue. And yeah, we do get off the board because now you've kind of lost your oomph of that back rank mate is not really there anymore. So now you've lost your backup right for your queen. But again, there's nothing wrong with that. Now that we really need this pawn to be in a good place here. So obviously he does push his pawn forward. The knight still moves. He moves back to attack the knight and potentially push his pawn on. The queen's under attack once again, and so we protect the queen. Move it out of the way. Right move. Queen's under attack again, and we scoot the queen all the way back. I'm not too sure where I'd move here in this spot. Possibly, I do understand. I think there's. Oh no, because no, that wouldn't work. In my head, I was thinking, oh, maybe here, but again, we've got the same issue, right? Possibly go here, but again, the issue is I think you can just go here, and then you're gonna kind of end up just dancing around. So I can understand where you're maybe trying to get your piece out of the way there, but yeah, this is the issue. We're kind of dancing around with this horse for a little bit, and this is why sometimes at the lower levels, especially my level, it's better to bishops can be very powerful, but they can be very complicated beings with their movement, and sometimes it's just better to get them off the board early if you are confused. So we get this move. He pushes the pawn. If it was me, I would go for that and then trade off get the knight off the board. Now just start trying to pick up some pieces. Trade off some... okay, so another thing here as well for me, I'd be moving this king up and getting the king into play. We're in an endgame now, and kings are like really super vital attackers. So I would absolutely be moving this king up before I pushed any more pawns, protect the pawns, especially because he's got the pawn advantage here, if it was me. And he does that. Hey, look at that. You're just listening. So we get some pretty standard pawn movements here. So this is now hanging, so I'd absolutely be taking here. Great. Yeah, I think that's fine. So we get a check. Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can find a strategy here, because so we've got this check. What checks have we actually got? I don't think that's too awful. So check into here. And then we want to basically get ourselves in a position where we're checking safely, but we're also on a diagonal where we can hit this rook, and also not where the king can just touch it, right? Which I think is what he's trying to do. So the rook is kind of pinned in place here. I don't think to be fair, I would be doing a similar thing to Charlie here. Although I will say I've noticed that Charlie, you're using very little of your 30 minutes here, right? You're just kind of moving pieces around. My advice is, brother, just slow down for a minute and assess the board. I won't do it for you guys right here because I don't have the fast chess brain. But if it was me and I had 20 minutes, I'd take a couple minutes and just assess, okay, what are my options here? Where can he move? What's going on, and what's going to be the winning move here, right? Because there absolutely will be a winning move. Because there's got to be a winning move here somewhere, but you've just got to take it. I would stop and assess. That's what I would do. So he is bringing his king into play more. That's definitely the strat. I wouldn't have been taking there and breaking up the structure unnecessarily, because the issue is that's not so much a problem. The taking, it's okay. If he was potentially to push on there, that might actually cause some issue. Actually, no, he's got the backup pawn here. I'm just talking crap. Ignore me. So we've actually got even pawns here, which is good, because earlier on it was 4 against 3. So this is very nice. This is most certainly a winnable position. The gentleman moves his king in. Again, we want to get our king into play, which is good. That's obviously what is being gone for here. He's still trying to keep that rook, and trying to do something with this rook here. Okay, so that's not quite the one. I feel like there could have been a check there that could have. Let me see what we got for white. Nope, I can't see it this minute. So let's see. So we've got this. Okay. So wait, what's that? What happens here? Why is this? So he's not pinned to this, but he doesn't want to lose his pawn. I can understand that. He has got a 2-1 pawn. Oh no. Okay. So here it would be. I think I remember reading about this in theory yonks ago. You'd want to push your pawn, your king up, and take up as much space above here, and then he would run out. The other person would run out of moves where they could safely, because this is protected. So the king is going nowhere near that pawn, right? So you'd want to move your king up and take up these squares and really just bully that king, push him back, and then you can move in, right? Because if you go here, he can't go there. He can maybe go there, but you can push into here. And then the king will run out of moves, right? He would have to retreat himself, because you can't stalemate it. He would back himself up, and then you can nom the pawn, and then you're in good stead. But you do make the wrong move here, because now in this stage, okay, no. So once again, I did do a bit of reading on endgames with pawn and king endgames here. I think here it would go up and right here is the move. You basically want to race to beat. You want to escort this pawn and move this pawn up, right? But you want to make sure that you're you're up here first, because if you get this king gets to here, then you can get to a stalemate really easily where the king's here, the pawn gets to here, and it's blocked. So I probably would move the king first, and you make a mistake. This is a drawing game now, and that's the issue, is that, yeah, if this individual's smart, he's just going to dance around here. He's made the mistake again. So why is this a mistake? Because if he goes to here... No, he wants to go to here, I think, is the... Yes, he wants to go to here, because then he can still go to here. Oh, this is tough. Again, I'd have to stop and assess it, but there is, on liechess.com, there is some really good pawn and king endgames like you can play through, and I play through a lot of these. I'd have to do reading on the theory on it again one more time, but it's basically you earlier on in the game you would wanted to get that king in that position to escort the pawn. This is a bit more of an uglier spot. This is a very draw heavy game. One wrong move and it can go. So yeah, move the king up to there, and then we get the king out of the way. Perfect. And then we want to go king here, queen, perfecto. And now we want to just get this mate. Look at that. We got there in the end. Beautiful. Charlie, fantastic work. You got a really good win there. Obviously some mistakes. Look at my game, there's tons of them. I would say to yourself, maybe do a little bit of reading around some pawn play. Sounds very fancy. Excuse me, and just a little bit on endgames as well. But obviously you did well enough. You got a fantastic win there. So you should be really proud of yourself. I thank you very much for sending in the game. I hope you enjoyed the review, as I said. Yeah, please do send in your games, people. I think this is the backlog cleared for me for now. So yeah, this is episode 4, I think it is. So yeah, any other games you guys got me, any advice for me, any questions, let me know. And if not, take care, everybody.